And
Yeah.
the answer, I looked it up on Google, is yes, you could eat them. You probably shouldn't because they're not food safe, but you could eat the half hours on Earth packing peanuts. That should be like my clip at the beginning of the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside quarantine editions of the episode. I'm your not so humble host, Carp, and joining me today we have Steven, also known as Hop, Sip, and Jump on Instagram.
Hi, I'm Steven. Hi, Carp.
Hi, Steven. Thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate taking time out of whatever your schedule may be to speak with us about your beer Instagram. But as we do on a majority of our quarantine episodes, we're going to share a virtual beer. Let my audience know what you're drinking.
Oh, yeah. I'm having Nickelbrook's Sweet Shop. It's a white milk stout with rye barrel-aged coffee, vanilla beans, and organic Ecuadorian cocoa nibs and lactose. I'm
Nice.
excited about this one because it's my friend's barrel-aged coffee that went into it from the Barrel Project. And I kind of saw that kind of barrel-aged coffee thing go from start to into what it is now. So I was really excited now that they're starting to appear in some brews and stuff. It's pretty cool to see. I also have my Nickelbrook hat on.
Awesome. Yeah, good thing to promote them. I'm having from Emporium out of Quebec City. It is a pastry stout called Cupcake Monster.
Oh, that sounds good.
What do we got? We got cocoa, vanilla, chocolate, vanilla, and coconut. It'll be vanilla and biscuit on the taste. And they got some grains, and it's coming in at 8% ABV.
Nice.
So as we do a virtual toast.
Yeah.
A toast.
A toast.
Close enough.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, that's delicious.
This is really good. I mean, I never really know quite where white stouts fall into, like whether or not they're stouts or what, but they taste good. They taste good. And this is just like, it kind of smacks you in the face with the coffee. It's less sweet than I think it promises, which I actually prefer. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, this is for this it's a lot less coffee stout. The pastry stouts, just the popularity of them coming out I'm very happy. And it tastes like a vanilla cupcake. It's fantastic. So.
Yeah, I've been trying to drink through a lot of my pastry stouts. I have a lot of pastry stouts that I was saving in like the cellar, and I've kind of come to realize that like you don't need to cellar those. Like there's no need to cellar pastry stouts. Like I think there's an advantage to like if you leave them for a while, they won't change that much over time, but they're not going to improve.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I started cellaring, and I know a lot of my fellow craft beer drinkers are like, "Oh, it's the apocalypse. Better start drinking it out of my cellar." I'm like, "No, save it." But also, you don't want to save it at the same time. But hey, you do you. That's what's important. As long as you're enjoying wonderful local beverage. So, what's the story? What brought you to Beer Instagram?
Yeah, I started Hop, Sip, and Jump not even that long ago. It was, I think, mostly pandemic madness that drove me to. I remember I hit like a point where I had moved back in with my parents right around the start of the pandemic, and I've been into craft beer for as long as I was drinking, because I guess when I was young I was a little yuppie like that. But I would say that sometime around last summer, I was deep into like doing the craft beer orders, trying to keep up with all the releases. And I was already documenting all of the things that I was drinking, taking a picture, writing notes for myself. I didn't love using Untappd. And at some point I was just like, I think I should start a craft beer Instagram. I don't know why. I felt it. I think in part it's what I like about it is I'm someone that I enjoy writing, and I aspire to do like screenwriting, content creation, and stuff like that. And what I've loved about this is it creates almost a commitment for me to create something small every single day and to put it out. And then the social media part, I've always been a Luddite with it, is kind of teaching me how social media works, and then also giving me kind of a social obligation to keep doing it. So I guess that and I think the most important part is that I'm talking about something that I love, which makes it easy to come back to over and over again.
Yeah, no, definitely when you're creative and you're something passionate about, it's very easy to do it. Like, I prefer kind of being the host and getting out there, and thankfully I have somebody who's more than willing to edit all my crud together to make me look great somehow. So as long as you're getting your creativity out there and you're not just bottling it in, that's what's important. I mean, it's shown, it sucks we're in a pandemic right now. Thankfully, we have technology like this to speak with one another. But the amount of art that's going to come out over the next 2-3 years, from everything from album releases to actual artist stuff, I'm really looking forward to our version of the Roaring Twenties. So
It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it as well.
yeah.
I hope that, I mean, I hope that I can create something or some stuff too. But yeah, but right now I'm happy. I almost see like making the hop, sip, and jump content as like my minute a day meditation. Like almost like or not exactly meditation, because I tried actually meditating, but like it's like the thing you do every day and it just makes it a little bit easier. And I've learned a lot about beer by kind of committing to learning more about it and like writing about it just a little bit. And it's been fun. And
Yeah, no, the important thing
yeah,
is you're getting that out there. You're like, I got to get this out. If you're just sitting wherever you are, and if you're not using your creativity, your brain's going to become mush. So, whether it's reading a book to creating online content to, I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of wild movies coming out over the next few years too.
oh,
So it's like,
yeah,
just get all that creativity out, and it's awesome. And like I said, I'm a fan of it. So it's like how you use a lot of nature. A
oh yeah.
lot of your images you use that you're obviously the nature, I'm assuming, around you or somewhere nearby. So what kind of made you decide to like it's going to be more nature focused than just sitting in a room with a kitchen table taking a picture?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, that's also part of the pandemic situation moved me to kind of like, I've been trying to be active through it, get outside. Another thing that's been so nice about it is once I kind of decided like, oh, I'll just go on a walk with my beers and take a picture of the can, and then we'll do the actual picture of the pour next to that. It's been nice for forcing me to get outside. It's been really good for that. And I think, I don't know, in terms of the thought that goes into that, it almost starts with me wanting to get outside and then just kind of finding nice ways to, I guess, practice taking pictures of it. I've gotten better taking shots with my phone. Sometimes I'll kind of put a little bit of thought into like how I want to stage something. And then that kind of comes and goes. I think lately I've actually been feeling it's getting a little bit stale. I'm using the same like empty lot around my parents' place. But that's kind of what it's I guess has been.
And you do mention on most of your posts how you do go for runs and things like that. You post your new personal best, so that's always good to see,
Yeah.
as well as that you are remaining very active during what a time is going to be very inactive for a lot of people. So
Yeah, I was proud. I got my personal best half marathon time yesterday, and I was like, yes, I did it. And then I should have a beer to
yeah,
celebrate. And I found out, I guess it's like I've gotten more into running, and I found out more about like run to beer and how they'll do that in Toronto. And I'm like so looking forward to things opening up and getting to kind of experience that with people, and also some of my friends that I've started talking to more, because we all kind of share that common interest. It's nice. It's been a great thing for getting outdoors. I'm looking forward to, I felt weird about like driving out to trails and stuff like that are outside of my kind of area. So I've been pretty rigid with following I guess social distancing and all that. Following the guidelines. So I've just kind of stayed in the area mostly, but I'm looking forward to later this summer getting to do some cycling, and I'll bring out some beer there, get some nice shots. And yeah,
what made you decide on hop, sip, and jump, and not like Steven drinks craft or Steve drinks anything like that?
I kind of, I think it would have been around September. I decided like I think I'd hit this like weirdness of living in the pandemic, having moved back in with my parents. I'm coming to you live from my childhood bedroom. I got the original 150 behind me. I got a Scholastic book fair. Um, and I think I was like, I think I should just like start posting all my beer notes on social media and also like learn how Instagram works. And I asked my friend Max Max Farber. He's a pretty cool guy. You could probably find him on Insta as well, and TikTok. And but anyways, he's really good at coming up with names. He's done like music and bands and things. And I had like some were like what was this? My last name's Lubin. So one that I thought would be funny was Lube here, but I felt like that might make like it might give people the wrong message about what the account was about. So but I was kind of like I guess a name like Lubin, like in high school, like I heard lube a lot, but I was like, I'm gonna take it back. No, but I was kind of going through what were some other ones. I seeking beer arrangements, a lot of which I think I was coming close to deciding on that, and then I was like, I should just check with Max because he's gonna have a bunch of good names, and I don't remember all of them that he sent me, but he sent me a bunch of names that were like way better than anything I'd come up with, because I can't come up with names very well if none of that was indicative of it. And one of them was Hop, Sip, and Jump, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And then I went and like, of course, somebody has Hop, Sip, and Jump. So Hop, Sip, and Jump. So I was like, oh, I'll get Hop, Sip, in just like a little N in there and Jump. Okay, cool.
And as you mentioned, I mean, from what I saw, your earliest post was about 36 weeks ago. So that's a little less than a year. Well, yeah, it's like a half a year. And you have like over 1,000 followers. How do you felt that growth came about?
Yeah, I mean, I passed 1,000 followers, and right around then you messaged me asking to be on the podcast, and I was like, I made it. I was like, I did it. This is it. But I think so. I guess I am a social media Luddite. I'm like very critical of social media. I do have a background, like I have a master's in information sciences. I like studied UX design and stuff like that in school. I work in media analytics. I just don't love using it. So I would say just in terms of kind of posting, knowing when to post, there's probably a more soulless way that I could do it. Getting one of those like content like schedulers or something. And I was like, that just feels like wrong. I get and like making sure you have all the right hashtags and stuff, and it's kind of been, so I would say just from that and like figuring it out and kind of optimizing it just as that kind of thing, it's been an interesting exercise in that, and it's been cool to see the growth in it. I also, I guess, to give myself some credit, I like to think more so than just the kind of soulless part of Instagram. I like to think that I try with every post, with every picture, I try to really think about it. I try to read from either online, looking at whatever sources I can of like learning about the style I'm going to talk about. Garrett Oliver's book, the Oxford Beer Encyclopedia, any of those things. I really try for every piece that I'm posting to just like make it a little bit thoughtful. And it seems like people respond to that, and I've enjoyed doing it. And I guess, yeah, just keeping up with the weird side of Instagram of making the algorithm like you.
I mean, thankfully, it's not as prevalent on Instagram. I don't find the social media toxicity is as bad on Instagram. I have no idea about TikTok. I think being at 41, TikTok's probably out of my age range right now. So that I'm going to skip. But yeah, Facebook and Twitter are just like, oh, you want some toxic mindset in your life for the day? Here you go. So.
It's like Instagram is okay as long as you like stay in our little like bubble of it's crap. I mean, even then we see a lot of, I guess, important social issues coming up that I think still work their way in that kind of discussion. And you see people being about to swear, bad people being jerks, being jerkwads. Yeah. There is like still a toxic side of even like the craft beer Instagram world, and you see like a lot of even like even when you go on like the Facebook group, the Craft Beer Canada group, like a lot of people are just being either misogynistic, racist jerks.
Yeah.
But so, and that exists, I don't know, I find everywhere, but I guess when in our bubble, it's like, I guess better and I guess slightly not that, I don't know.
Well, that's also what does help with this show is, if I'm not going to spend money at the place because they're not great people, I'm not going to interview them. So,
Yeah.
the last thing they need is more of my platform like YouTube or podcasting or Instagram or however for them to get their negative messages out there. So far, everybody I've personally met in craft beer have been awesome individuals. So like,
Mhm.
I'm really worried that it's gonna like get that one person. I'm like, oh, now it's ruined. So,
Yeah.
one of your other big things about your Instagram that I like, you're promoting craft soda as well. Uh,
Oh yeah.
what are your kind of thoughts about like a lot of these breweries are like, hey, let's make sodas as well or seltzers or whatever. What are your thoughts about that kind of shift for some of these guys?
Oh, I love it. I love it because for so many different. So the first thing is I mean, I try to post like a beer a day, and I that's a lot of beer to drink. And I guess especially now when I'm like trying to run half marathons and get my like personal bests and stuff, it's like hard to be drinking now. And that's why actually I post a lot of stouts because, or I'll drink a lot of stouts because my parents love stouts. So I'll share like a decent portion of each one with them. So it reduces the amount of, I guess, alcohol consumption. But even then, as I guess I'm getting more into training, I've been trying to cut back at least on the alcohol. And I also just gosh darn love soda. Those crap like those I love soda. Like I'm not convinced that like a root beer, like a really good root beer, I don't even know. I might like it or enjoy it more than beer. I don't know if that's like I don't know if that's okay to say, but I love root beer. Even like A&W is the absolute bomb.
Oh yeah.
It is the best. And then I started realizing like a lot of these places I'm ordering from, like Nickelbrook, they have a root beer, which is delicious,
Hmm.
and I can just add that on. And now instead of buying it from the grocery store, I'm getting like this real nice kind of craft soda. And what I like about it is that sometimes there was like a certain amount of like getting used to it because you're used to like the even higher sugar content
Yeah.
and the like fake ingredients in like your A&W and stuff like that. But then you're having this new like kind of craft experience, like real flavors. And oh, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I love it. I think that it's cool then that I guess like kids can drink it too. Like, you can bring your kid to Nickelbrook. I remember I was at Nickelbrook. I don't remember when. Um, I guess back when things were open. So that was in the before times. But and I remember like a father like ordering a pint of beer, and he's like, and he'll have the root beer for his
Yeah.
his son who was with him. That's cute. So cute.
Well, that's what yeah, I believe is Ian from Whipper. Yeah, it was Ian McMartin from Whippersnapper, based out of Ottawa region. The first thing I tried on that show was one of his sodas, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just a dad sits down with his kid, and it's he'll have it." And so the kid's thinking, "Oh, I'm drinking with daddy, like this is great," and but it's a root beer. It's not a non-alcoholized beer. It's an actual like soda. And it was the same thing with Mario from Castle Brewery out in Castleman, Ontario. They were the same way, where he's like,
Mm.
"Why am I going to pay Pepsi and Coke all this money when I could just have my own soda?" Because in their region they have the double bar / brewery license. So you want a rum and Coke, you get a rum and my cola. You get a vodka and my cola.
Oh, that's cool.
And so their ginger ale was one of the best ginger ales I've ever had. It's just all natural. It's had like a spiciness to it. I'm like, what is this? This is awesome. I can't wait to go back and have more of these. It's just I got to be able to travel, and unfortunately, interprovincial transportation is not really okay in Canada at this time. So
Yeah, I had the whippersnapper, like their lemon soda, and that has like what I think it has like a little ginger. It has got a little zip to it. It's
yeah.
got a little something special. I had yesterday. I think I shared. I have been loving the Nickelbrook ginger beer.
Hmm.
That I think it's Naughty Next. It's so good, and it's so spicy with ginger. Like I'll get it in my mustache, then I'll be like an hour later just like cleaning my face. I'm like, oh, like that's still spicy.
Yeah. So you're still pretty fresh Instagram account. Could you see yourself collaborating via your Instagram to kind of make your own beer, like your own Instagram brewery beer? And what would be like one or two places that you'd love to collab with when it comes to doing your Instagram and maybe making a beer with these guys?
If they saw fit to collab with me, which I haven't even, I mean, I knew what the question roughly was going to be, because you're cool like that. You let me know, but I still don't like the idea of like making a beer with someone is kind of out there for like my aspirations. It's like, I don't know. It's like the winning an Oscar of what I do. I feel like, oh man, I love Nickelbrook. I would say, oh, but I love so many of them. Also, I'm really big onto half hours on Earth. I don't know why. I don't think they're doing collabs with anyone right now. I think they just do their thing and it's amazing. Yeah. But I've been kind of obsessed with them as far as things out there. Oh, and I'm trying to think of and Henderson too. I'm a big fan of them.
Very cool.
That's like one of my favorite Toronto breweries, because they just do such a great like mix of different styles that a brewery with their production capacity, they haven't done too many of the like hazy IPAs or heavily fruited beers, which I do enjoy on occasion. But to see like a brewery like that, and they just keep putting out different kinds of things, it's a good time.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Like you mentioned Half Hours on Earth, and then there's, I believe it's called Carbon Brewery. Those are like two very much breweries I want to interview, because they are trying to be carbon neutral. And I love the fact that they're thinking about the planet first. Every single brewery we've spoken to, they're like, oh yeah, all our leftovers go to a farm and pigs eat them and stuff. It's, it's great to hear that they're not just chucking it in compost or chucking it in a landfill. Is that I find breweries are a lot more respectful about our environment when it comes to either water treatment or using renewable energy, if that's an option, things like that. And, I would like my niece and nephew to have whatever kids they have for the planet to not be screwed up because of, generations before us and even our generation a little bit. So,
yeah, I mean, like, I think it's like, I'm thinking of, there was like this craft beer channel episode or interview with the Alchemist Brewery in Vermont, which was kind of actually weirdly one of my introductions to like craft. I was like, they're weirdly one of which is such a amazing thing to be able to say. So I think it's John Clement who was saying like, there without the environment, you don't have beer. You don't like so you have to be sustainable in your practices in the way that you go about it. And it's, I don't know, I think it's something that's definitely important to me when I think about, I guess, the beer that I consume, and then makes me really look with awe at like something like Half Hours on Earth, and they're putting out like some of the best beers in Ontario. And and they're also doing it, they're carbon neutral. They shipped me a box and they had like little packing peanuts that were made of like potato starch. And then I was like, I wonder if I could eat these, because that's what went to my brain. And the answer, I looked it up on Google, is yes, you could eat them. You probably shouldn't because they're not food safe, but you could eat the Half Hours on Earth packing peanuts. That should be like my clip at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that's great. No, I mean, even the first time I saw the compostable like 4 clip packs from Knowlton Brewing Co. Out in the Knowlton region, it's like, he's like, yeah, dude, just chuck it in your front yard and it'll just fall apart. I'm like, see, this is what I need. But even like the 4-pack clippers, a lot of these guys are like, oh, just bring them back to the brewery. We'll rinse them off and we'll reuse them. So it's nice. It's versus the, I got to make sure I cut up the 6 rings so I don't murder a dolphin somehow. It's good thing that a lot of these a lot of the craft places are like, hey, let's keep all this going, folks. So you mentioned like your craft beer discovery, and you mentioned you drink stouts with your parents. Was one of your like craft beers a stout, or do you remember kind of what those couple of first craft beers were?
So the first one would have been I didn't drink in high school because I didn't go to parties or anything. But which I feel like now we're building a narrative, like called Lubin High School. I had like a healthy group of friends in high school I'm still friends with. When I got to university, I went to the University of Toronto, And at Trinity College, like U of T has like kind of like Hogwarts houses, or like the way the British school system does it. So my college was Trinity, which was like the most pretentious of them. And they had steam whistle beer at everything. And that was, I guess, my entry point. So that was when I started drinking. What I drank was steam whistle. And that just became the thing that once I was 19, because now I realized, well, sorry, I was totally I didn't drink until after 19. Trinity College never gave me any beer or anything like that. Let's just be on the record here. But no, so all the beer that I drank was steam whistle, and that's like, I didn't realize it at the time. That's a very high bar. That's like, it's a good pilsner. I still enjoy it, and it's still the thing that if you're going to a bar with people, which I would like to do at some point in the future, and ordering a pitcher, saying I'll look for steam whistle on the menu. And the next thing that kind of happened, there were like stages of it, like the different rings of, or like circles of craft beer hell. But I guess the next thing that happened was my parents, who are actually Montrealers. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, Carp, but like I'm sure you are. But like a thing Montrealers will do is you go to New England for like your vacations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we would go to Vermont every summer, and then once I was coming up to exactly 21 years of age, I was over 21 at this point in time. But my dad would be out there grilling. We would stay at like a kind of like apartment style place in the summer, go hiking, and I would still go with him because it's beautiful out there. And I guess people would see my dad drinking Switchback, great beer, or Allagash, and another great beer. And someone was like, "Hey, you should check out this brewery that just opened a new facility." So I actually would have been 21 at this point in time, because that was 2015, called Alchemist. So my dad went and he got like the Heady Topper, Focal Banger. And I remember having Heady Topper for the first time. It's just like being smacked in the face with hops. And you're like, what's happening? And it's like so bitter, but also weirdly refreshing. And I remember thinking, like, I don't even know if I like this, but it's the weirdest thing that's ever come across my palate. So I think I'm going to keep drinking it, and I'm going to learn to like it. And then that was really the kind of starting point, that when I like went back home after that trip, I was into craft beer. I would only get like trying out the different kind of Ontario craft offerings at the LCBO. Later still, I lived on the Danforth right near left field. And that was kind of when I started getting to know like the local breweries, and like showing up and being like, oh, what did they have today? And then at some point, and also the Only Cafe would have been right around there. So I would start to kind of see other offerings. And at some point, in all of that, I started kind of getting, there's like the point of like, oh, I know I like craft beer. And then there's like a weirdly specific awareness of your immediate area of like craft breweries and offerings, and what the different, I guess things that you can find in your city are. And then what's been great for the pandemic is, as they've opened up, I guess, like better mail order beer, and that's been incredible. And I guess beer delivery to your home, I've been able to experience all of these different breweries from around Ontario that I otherwise probably wouldn't have been as aware of. Like, I mean, just being able to order like a box full of Vim and Vigor is like the best thing in the world.
I believe you sound the same kind of mindset, where we should open our beer borders across, where, hey, get me some Heady Topper up here in Quebec or Ontario.
Yeah.
And, oh, hey, get me some of whatever, like Maine Brewing Company, or Superflux in Vancouver. Why can't I get that here in Montreal?
I wish we could get that easier. My dad so the last time we were in Vermont would have been right before the pandemic in February. We went skiing there, and the Alchemist had a doppelbock called the Stipulator, and it was my dad's. It's fantastic. And when I bought it, the guy at the register at the brewery was like, you have to get this. He was like, I'm just gonna put it in for it. And it was fantastic. It's my dad's favorite beer. And he is so depressed that he couldn't get any this year. And I was like, Dad, if it makes you feel any better, they didn't brew it again this year. probably didn't sell well enough because people don't drink double bucks. They want the New England IPAs. But
Yeah.
but and he's like, it's wrong that I can't get it. Oh, I would give.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of those beercations, I ask everybody this, and I recently added it because of just to add on a few more questions. Some of those beercations. So one where yes, I have to go back to work. Yes, I only have like an extra, let's say, 1,500 to spend. And then the second one is I won $70 million on the lottery. I don't ever have to go back to work again. What are those two like beercations that you'd love to do? Once it's safe to travel again. Once it's safe to travel again.
So I had like a trip planned last year that I would have done were it not for the pandemic. That was like a weekend long thing. I wanted to go to like upstate New York. And kind of when I think of traveling and beer tourism, I usually think about it in terms of like the scene is ubiquitous enough now that in a lot of places where you go, there is great beer to be found. So there are like, it's not the only factor, but I wanted to go through upstate New York to Rochester. And there's like Mortalis there's Fifth Frame. You can stop off in Buffalo. They have some great breweries there. If you want to go more to the Finger Lakes, you can go to like Prison City Brewing. I really wanted to check that out and just like get to experience those different breweries, pick up some beers along the way, go to the Eastman Museum, I guess, because I guess I'm a film archive nerd or something like that, and see like a screening there of something old and cool. And I am bummed that didn't get to happen, but that would be my pick of like a weekend trip. I guess if you want to do like a mid tour, I also really wanted to go to New Orleans, and I'm sure there was going to be a lot of good things to find there. And as for like if I won the lottery, probably Belgium, I would say. Like see some of the Trappist breweries. I feel like you must get that answer a lot. Like that would probably be because that would be the most expensive I can think of. There's also I would love to tour, I guess, more of the UK and see their breweries, because when I would have been there, I wasn't as into the craft scene and as I am now. So, but I would also love to try living in the UK at some point. So I feel like let's be optimistic, say that happens someday, but I would love to go on a trip to Belgium.
Well, I mean, you're the first person where we share the same hairstyle, where it'd be like, I just fit in with the monks. This already matches the monks, so why not just walk into a monastery and start drinking beer with the monks? So it's
They won't even notice I'm there.
So what do you see what's next for kind of your Instagram and going out when you could go out there again and take some more pictures, pick up some more beers? Where do you see yourself going from there?
Yeah. I guess I keep coming up with like big plans of what I'm gonna do with it. I one night after many beers bought the like website domain for Hop Sip and Jump. So I have that. Whether or not I write a blog on it, I don't know. But every time I start like over planning, it like becomes too like almost too much. I'm like, I don't know what to do with all these ideas for this. It's nicer when it's just a hobby that I do because I love it. I think just I'm excited for what reopening will bring. Firstly, for I guess how it changes the things that I'll be trying and doing. Like I'm excited to actually do like proper brewery visits with friends, or like going to restaurants that have good tap lists, of which there are many in Toronto. And I can't wait to do that again. And I think that's the biggest thing of like how are things going to change once things kind of go back to normal. I have like other ideas of what kind of things I might want to try, or different kind of formats for content, but I think right now I'm just kind of focused on when are things going to reopen, and how am I going to kind of adapt what I'm posting to that.
Well, I mean, you mentioned earlier on how you're trying to be part of a kind of like a beer fit thing, where you do a run, but then you'd go to the brewery after and have a beer because you see yourself. I know it's in not Cambridge, Waterloo. It's like a bicycle shop, and they have it's not a bicycle shop. It is a brewery that specializes. I think it's third wheel.
Was it
Sure, I'm
Fixed
wrong.
chain or
Fixed
something
chain,
like that.
fixed gear,
Yeah,
fixed gear.
fixed gear.
Fixed gear. So they have a
We
thing,
got there in the end.
and then Mistorum here in Montreal as well. They have a bike club where if you're part of the bike club, you go out and you come back and you get a cheaper rate on your beer. Could you see yourself doing something like that, or even maybe creating something like that?
Oh, I'd love to do that. I don't know if I would create something like that because I feel like it's more planning than I'm able to do. But but as for like just do, I would love to do that. I would love to do run to beer. That sounds like so much fun and such an exciting way to meet people. I've saved this. I want to do like my Cicerone or Prud'homme, but at the same time, like I acknowledge that I do this as a hobby. So I don't really feel like a pressure to do it while it's online. I don't know if you've done those or anything like that, or yeah,
I've done a course that was like introduction to beer tasting, by a level 1 Cicerone or level 2, I can't remember. But it's here in Quebec, so it was all in French. So as a natural Anglophone, thankfully knowing some French, so there's certain words I'm like, c'est quoi ça en anglais? Like, please
qu'est-ce
tell
que
me what that
c'est?
word is in
Je ne
English because I have
comprends
no
pas.
idea what you said. So, but that was fun. Yeah, I'd love to do. I feel I have what's called a consumer palate where I'm not like hyper sensitive for tasting or anything, but I can like there are certain hops in certain New Englands and certain IPAs that I enjoy. Like Vic's Secret is one of those hops that just for some reason, everything with a Vic's Secret hop, I'm just able, it could be a 9% double IPA and I'll crush it because I'll be like, this tastes like juice to me.
It is delicious.
It's,
Yeah, I do love Big Secret. I do love Galaxy. They're like
yeah.
they have like such nice, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, ultimately, the goal for personally me in the end is owning a brewery. I have ideas. I know how I'm going to name my beers. I know what the name of the brewery is going to be. I know what merch is going to look like. It's just having that realistic financial backing. Obviously, trying to find a good enough brewer because I don't know about brewing. I don't know if you homebrew or anything either. So
I'm a big fan of cooking projects. I bake bread, but I've been forbid. I love fermenting things, but as long as I'm living with my parents, my mom has called it out. When I was getting into beer, she has expressly forbidden me from brewing anything. She was like, Stephen, you can't brew. You can't get into brewing. You already take up so much space with all your weird like pickled things. You can't brew. We don't have any room in the fridge with all the beer you already have. You're no brewing. But yeah,
plus having the house smell like bread for a week as well. So
I don't think it's a problem, but I can understand for them. It's their home.
Yeah, no, I see where your folks are coming from. So, so obviously I've been to Toronto before a dozen times. So let's say you're talking to somebody on Instagram and they're like, "Hey, it's cool. I'm coming to Toronto. What are like 3 to 5 places that they have to hit in the GTA or surrounding area of where roughly you may locate where you're located right now?"
So my first thing, someone's coming to Toronto for the first time. My recommendation isn't that you go straight to a brewery. Let's assume everything's open up. You go to a beer bar. You go to a place like Barvolo, or you go to like either their new location on like I think it's like Wellesley now is fantastic. They have like a huge list, or you can go to the College Street location. I used to live right next to there. They have PG Clucks right next door. You get one of the best fried chicken sandwiches in the city, and it's a great time. You can try a bunch of different beers from around the city, but also from around Ontario. You get to talk to the bartenders there, and they're going to get to know what you kind of like, and then they can recommend where you can go based on your preferences. Other great places to try it might be Worst or the Wren. Both have good lists. I'm trying to think of any. Oh, and the Only Cafe. That would be so that's like the first night you go there. But like, let's say you're going to go to an area with breweries. I mean, if I have to, I could talk about this for a long time, but I guess if I had to choose like the purest craft beer nerd, I would send to Godspeed. I would they're making just like the cleanest, best, like just the high, like there's something crazy going. I don't know what it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I would send them there. I also for I guess going with a group, hanging out. I love Left Field. But I would also start to think about it in terms of, I feel like I'm giving way more recommendations of top free places, but think about it in terms of like, how many can I hit? So you go to like the Junction, you can go out there, you can hit up Reinhard, Junction Craft, and Shacklands, all within like a very close distance from each other. If you want to try really hard and believe in yourself, you can go to People's Pint and Indie Ale House at the same time. I've never made it that far. I had some very bad nights trying to do it, but it didn't work. Even trying all three in that area didn't work out. But if you believe in yourself, maybe you can do it. But then there are other places too, like you can go to Bellwoods and the new Collective Arts location, which I have yet to visit. There are so many areas where you can hit like a few of them at a time. You can do Left Field and go to Ren for dinner, which I used to love doing with my friends back when that was a thing that people did.
It's coming back. It's coming back.
It's coming back. It's coming back. So yeah, I think firstly, like, visit beer bars to get a feel for what kind of stuff you're going to want to try, and then try to pick out general areas where you can hit a few different places, and you can't go wrong with a lot of them, or any of them really.
Very cool. Yeah, it's good to hear that. It's rare that people mention the beer bars themselves, because I usually mention breweries to hit. So it's a bit of a change. I know there's Say What, I believe it's called.
Oh yeah, I have. So my office, back when, it's weird because at my job I've worked longer from home than I have, but we used to do like a monthly like drinks thing, and we would go to Say What. They have great beer there, and also, yeah, you're right, from like around the city. You'll find like a lot of like Left Field on the town, all sorts of stuff.
This has been an awesome talk today. I have no other questions for you, so let my audience know where they can find you.
You can find me on @HopSipAndJump on Instagram, and then I drunkenly bought the domain for the website, so I might like put that up someday. So that's where you can find me. Come on by. Check out, I guess, my beer posts.
Awesome. So that's all going to be in the show notes. As for us, we're at All Beer Inside everywhere on social media. If you want to follow myself, like I say, I do 2 postings a week on my own. It's at Killer Carpe Diem. The Carpe Diem is with a K, not a C. Hopefully the merch store will be up and running and the website will be fixed within the next couple of weeks, or by the time this episode is out. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man.